In Andrzej Sapkowski's earlier writing days, he used The Witcher to explore classic fairy tales. The world of The Witcher often takes place in what is meant to be a sweet story and adds a darker twist, layering it with vile curses, vampires, realistic human behavior, and a more grounded, morally grey perspective. None of these stories do it better than A Grain of Truth, a truly unsettling tale that takes a classic fairy tale and twists it and mangles it through flawed, morally complicated characters. A Grain of Truth was first published in 1989 in the Polish fantasy magazine Fantastica. It was later collected in The Last Wish in 1993, alongside earlier stories like The Witcher and The Lesser Evil. When The Last Wish was assembled, Sapkowski added the new stories such as The Edge of the World and The Last Wish, and framed them with The Voice of Reason, tying the collection together into something more than just a set of short stories. And within that collection, A Grain of Truth stands out because beneath the blood, the curse, and the horror, it's a twisted retelling of Beauty and the Beast. Our story begins with Geralt on the trail. He notices something strange and it draws him off the road, the circling of birds. It's the kind of detail a Witcher doesn't ignore. He follows them into the forest and finds what's left of a campsite, a dead man and his daughter. Wolves and birds have already done most of the work, but Geralt notices two things that don't belong in an ordinary tragedy. First, pinned to her clothing, a dark blue rose, a flower that doesn't feel like it belongs in a muddy forest grave. And second, distinct bite marks on the girl's neck, too precise and too deliberate. Geralt follows the trail deeper, and not long after, he catches sight of someone moving between the trees. A pale, young woman in a long white dress with long black hair. For a second, she's there, silent, ghost-like, and when Geralt steps closer and tries to greet her, she turns and runs, disappearing into the woods without a sound. Geralt, puzzled, keeps going. Eventually, he stumbles upon a manor, old and isolated, sealed behind high walls, and in its garden, those same dark blue roses, blooming where they shouldn't be. Before Geralt can even take it in, something bursts out into the courtyard. A huge, boorish figure, half beast, half man, charging and shouting like it's trying to scare him off. But Geralt doesn't flinch. He simply stands his ground and calmly asks the man if he can rest. The beast hesitates, surprised by Geralt's lack of fear, and then, awkwardly, it invites him inside. The creature introduces himself as Nivellen, and despite the tusk's brute strength and size, Nivellen isn't some mindless monster. He speaks, he jokes, and he's even hospitable. He shows Geralt around his home, and it becomes obvious this place isn't normal. Nivellen has some kind of magic control over the manor. He can conjure food, wine, summon warmth, fire, open and shut doors without touching them, like the house itself listens to him. Eventually Geralt asks a question that matters. Where did you come from? What are you? Nivellen tells him the story. 12 years ago, he was part of a bandit group that attacked a temple. During the assault, Nivellen was pressured into forcing himself upon one of the priestesses. As it happened, she told him he was a monster in human skin, and soon he would become a monster in monster's skin. She spoke of blood and love, words Nivellen can't fully remember, and when it was over, she took a blade from her hair and she killed herself. The next morning, Nivellen woke up in his family manor, transformed into this beast. When his former bandit companions saw what he had become, they fled in terror. In the chaos of his transformation, Nivellen accidentally killed some of them as he awoke. After that, Nivellen lived alone for a long time, until one day a man wandered into his garden and started picking at the blue roses. Nivellen lunged out and frightened the man half to death, and demanded to know what the man was doing. The man stammered out an excuse. He was just taking the roses for his daughter. And that's when Nivellen remembered the fairy tales from his youth. The ones about curses being broken. The ones where a kiss from a princess turns a frog into a man. So he makes a demand. Bring your daughter to me. The man breaks down and begs him. She's only 8 years old. And for a moment the human flickers in Nivellen. He backs off. He feels ashamed. He apologizes for scaring the man. Feeling so awful, he gives the man riches instead and sends him on his way. But the idea doesn't leave him. The man must have boasted his riches to others because over time more men come, and this is where the world of the Witcher shows its teeth. They come offering bargains, a year with their daughter, exchanged for gold and wealth, and this becomes a pattern. Girls arrive, they stay in the manor, and Nevalin treats them well. They talk, they eat, they live in comfort, they are treated like princesses, and sometimes they even share nights together. But, no matter how many versions of the fairy tale he tries to recreate, Nevalin never changes back. He remains a beast, and over time something strange happens. Nevalin stops seeing the curse as entirely a curse. He admits to Geralt that he doesn't hate being a beast. When he was human, he was often sick, weak, vulnerable. Now, he can't fall ill. He's strong. He's feared. His manner obeys his will. Food, fire, wine, all of it comes at a thought. And perhaps most telling of all, girls. Ones that would have never looked at him when he was human. The curse has taken his human appearance, but it has given him power, and Nevalin, in his own way, has grown comfortable in it. Geralt asks Nevalin if he's still alone, or if there's a new lady living with him. Nevalin dodges the question and tries to change the subject, but after some gentle pressure from Geralt, he finally admits there is someone. Her name is Vienna. He doesn't know exactly what she is. He knows she isn't human, but one thing is certain. They are truly in love, unlike anything he's felt before. Before Geralt leaves, Nevalin confesses that his dreams have grown darker as of late. He dreams of himself gone completely feral, raiding villages, killing without restraint. He fears he is slowly becoming what he appears to be. They both assume the beast is overtaking the man. Nevalin makes one final request to Geralt. He says, if he ever loses his mind and goes feral, he asks Geralt return and kill him. He can take the treasures that are in the basement of the manor. That night, Geralt doesn't ride far from the manor. He camps in the forest, thinking. He hears screams from afar and beautiful singing. The next day, as Roach drinks from a stream, the horse startles again, the same uneasy reaction she had near the corpses. And that's when Geralt understands. It wasn't the beast she feared, it was something else. Geralt rides back to the manor with his silver sword drawn. In the courtyard by the fountain, Vienna is waiting. The same pale woman from the forest, the white dress, the long black hair, and she isn't surprised to see him. Geralt knows it plainly. She's not human. She's a Bruxa, a vampire. Fast, intelligent, dangerous. The bite marks on the girl at the campsite, the blue rose pinned to her clothes. Nevalin's strange dreams. It all fits. Vienna has been feeding on the men bringing their daughters. With Nevalin in the manor, people stay away. The locals already fear the beast behind the walls. No one questions tragedy near a cursed estate. For the first time in her existence, Vienna has something close to safety, a place where she won't be hunted, and travellers still pass through these woods. Merchants, peasants, strangers. There's always someone to feed on. But she hasn't only been feeding in the forest. She has been feeding on Nevalin too. Blood drips from his neck when he finally bursts into the courtyard. Not enough to kill him, but enough to weaken him, to draw him closer, to pull him towards something darker, perhaps to corrupt him completely. And Nevalin, whether he admits it or not, has chosen not to see. The fight is brutal. Vienna is almost too fast for Geralt to strike. She moves like a blur, her body shifting from beautiful to monstrous in an instant. Geralt struggles, he barely keeps up, and Nevalin throws himself between them. For a moment Vienna hesitates, because she does love him. But it isn't gentle love, it's possessive, absolute. When she turns back towards Geralt, ready to finish him, Nevalin acts. He drives a stake into her. Vienna sighs. With a final terrible clarity, she understands what has happened. Instead of pulling away, she presses herself further onto the stake. She chooses death. With her love, she declares to Nevalin, "Mine or nobody's, I love you." He belongs to her, and in that violent blood-soaked moment, the curse breaks. Not with a kiss, but with blood. When the dust settles, Nevalin is no longer a beast. He is a man again. Geralt leads him away from the courtyard, away from the body of the woman who he loved. Nevalin, confused and shaken, asks Geralt, "How is this possible?" And Geralt answers quietly, There's a grain of truth in every fairy tale, said the Witcher quietly. Love and blood, they both possess a mighty power. Wizards and learned men have been racking their brains over this for years, but they haven't arrived at anything except what, Geralt? It has to be true love. Alright, so what is this story about? It's not a traditional Beauty and the Beast story. It plays with the structure, but it doesn't follow it. On the surface, it seems obvious. Nivellen, he's a beast. He's a boorish horned creature. In a manner. Vienna, pale and beautiful. She must be the beauty. But the more you sit with that reading, the less it works. Why would Beauty be a vampire? Why would the figure meant to redeem the monster be the one corrupting him? So I think something more interesting is happening here. In A Grain of Truth, Nivellen is actually the beauty, and Vienna is the beast. Not morally, not cleanly, but structurally. Let me explain. Yes, Nivellen is physically monstrous. Yes, he committed a terrible crime to become cursed. But look at his life. It's not a curse, it's a blessing. He lives in comfort. His manner fulfills his wishes. He's strong. He can't fall ill. He's wealthy. He has built a private world that almost feels enchanted. In the Witcher's world, a world of mud, plague, suspicion and cruelty, this is as close to a fairy tale you're gonna get. There is no traditional beauty wandering through this universe. No innocent, luminous village girl untouched by the world. But Nivellen believes in such fairy tales. He believes love can break a curse. He brings women into his manor, not by force, but because he wants companionship. He wants a connection. He wants the fairy tale to be true. That belief and that lifestyle makes him Beauty. He is the one who thinks love transforms. But just because people are drawn to him, just because peasant girls want to live in his manor, doesn't mean they love him. And just because someone is desirable doesn't mean they are understood. That's a subtle echo of Beauty and the Beast itself. And so why does he love Verena? Maybe because Verena wants him in a way that girls who come to the manor don't. Or maybe it's darker. In vampire stories, like Stephen King's Salem's Lot, being bitten isn't just violent, it's seductive, dreamlike. Victims describe it as warm, intimate, and almost comforting. And Verena is a bruxer. She sings, she mesmerizes, she draws people in with her beauty. And maybe she has a fairy tale-esque love spell over him with these attributes. Or maybe it's something else, but he does love her. Now look at Verena. She appears human, but she cannot live as one. She is fed by animals, she is hunted by men, she survives on blood, she is driven by her appetite. She is undeniably a monster, but she's also capable of love, just not human love. Her love is possessive, it's territorial, it's bound up in hunger and survival. She may love Nivellen because he gives her shelter, he gives her safety from hunters. He does not fear her, he provides her with blood. And perhaps one day she could corrupt him and dominate the region with him. That's not romantic love in a fairy tale sense, but it's love in a monstrous sense, and that is very fitting for the Witcher world. In Beauty and the Beast, love civilizes the monster. In A Grain of Truth, love destroys the monster. When Vienna dies, she presses herself further onto the stake. She chooses the wound. She declares her love, mine or nobody's. It's possessive, it's violent, it's absolute, and in that moment, through blood, not a kiss, the curse breaks. That is the fairy tale twisted inside out. The beast dies loving so completely that the beauty is freed. But it isn't gentle, it isn't clean, it's tragic. Because in The Witcher, no one is innocent. There is no pure beauty, no misunderstood saint. Only flawed, dangerous people and creatures trying to love in a world that's too grey to allow it. The story keeps the structure of the fairy tale, but it removes its innocence. And when innocence is removed, love doesn't redeem, it costs.